Welcome to another amazing Forbidden Knowledge TV podcast. Today we have an absolute legend joining us, someone who not only left an indelible mark on the NBA, but continues to inspire both on and off the court. Coutinho Mobley's journey is nothing short of remarkable. From lighting up the scoreboard during his 11-year NBA career with teams like the Houston Rockets, Orlando Magic, and the LA Clippers, to becoming a champion in the Big Three League. He's proven time and time again that he's a force to be reckoned with. But beyond his incredible basketball career, Coutinho is also a passionate advocate for health and wellness. Having overcome a life-threatening heart condition that cut his NBA journey short, his resilience, determination, and positive mindset are truly inspiring. Welcome to the podcast.
Thanks, man. I appreciate you.
All right, man. Beautiful. So, we've been vibing for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to remember exactly how we got on the same frequency.
I was stalking.
Okay. Okay.
I just, I really, I love intelligent minds. And the older I got, when you were a kid, you don't like going to school, right?
Mm-hmm.
The older I got, especially in college, it opened me up more to, searching for knowledge.
Yeah.
And just really understanding, like, what does this mean, whatever that is. And from then, I just started to search. And I found you just like, I'm like, wow, this guy is smart.
I appreciate
and I just kept researching. And then we connected and we did our first
podcast
interview.
Yeah.
Back.
About 4 years ago, actually.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, 4 years ago. You were one of my very first podcasts on the Forbidden Knowledge Podcast Network, so I appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Man.
Yeah, you took a chance with me, a guy that talks about aliens and UFOs.
I love it, man. I love it.
You weren't afraid of it, and it was actually a good podcast. It was in the beginning, so obviously it didn't get a great amount of views, but now, we have over 1.6 million or something like that subscribers, so back then I think we had 100,000. So come a long way in 4 years. Yeah, man. So we appreciate it, brother. So tell us a little bit about like what's new with you right now.
Me just being a dad, right?
Yeah.
I love it. I really love this job that I have being a dad. But I'm a life coach, and I do, I guess motivational speaking, but more transformational, just helping people kind of find and get out of the block of the life that they're in.
Nice.
And just being a mentor to a lot of individuals that's out there, right? I have my son who's 15, my daughter who's 11, and my other sons who are older. But just all of them are in different worlds, right? My daughter's the only girl, and then I have 3 boys, and then they're all different ages. And starting a supplement company called Catapult Daily, where it's just not taking, supplements, but it's more so the lifestyle, the grounding, the sound baths, the meditating.
Wow.
All those different things. I want to be able to, put all of it together so when someone comes to us, I'll use my professional kind of experience from the NBA and the journey that I have in life to be able to help whoever it is become better, right? So I learned that not too long ago about fasting just with water, right? That cures a lot of things, right?
Yeah.
So it's a lot of different things where if you don't have the money to do hyperbaric chamber, which costs, you can fast, right? If you're disciplined enough, just grounding, all those things. So I'm working on that. Plus, I'm coming out with a book. So it's just like so many different things that I'm doing right now, but the main focus is being a life coach.
That's beautiful, man. Matter of fact, we're filming a huge grounding documentary right now for the largest grounding company called Earthing.
I love it.
And we'd love to have you in the documentary.
Oh, that'd be beautiful, man.
Yeah, definitely. We'll get your information. We'll send you a whole grounding kit, grounding package.
Love it.
John Sally's going to be in it. He's coming down in a few weeks to film.
John's my guy. I do that every single morning.
Nice.
I'm outside. I go outside every single morning. It's like clockwork, and then I start to journal, and I feel so much better as a person. So,
nice. Beautiful, man. That's amazing. That's amazing. Yeah. When you were playing professional sports, being a father, how do you balance that workload between all that traveling and all that moving around and being a dad? How does that work?
You know, it's tough because there was a rough patch for my son. My son actually turned 25 2 days ago. Cino, who I love to death. Bumping heads with him about his journey and understanding that it's his journey, so I can't be as frustrated.
True.
So for 30 days, we kind of like said minimal amount of words. We didn't really speak, and in the same household. And then he sat down with me not too long ago and was kind of like just explaining, saying, "I'm sorry for what I did, this, that, whatever." And I said, "I'm sorry." So we were talking. It wasn't no malice. It wasn't a bad thing, but it was just kind of misunderstanding each other. So he sees me now as a father of, I'm cooking, I'm cleaning, I'm doing all this, I'm Uber dad, I'm doing all these things for the 15 and 11-year-old.
Yeah.
But when he was younger, he was always, we had a chef and we were on a plane and we were at games and it was always fun and it was, but he always was with me.
Yeah.
But you got to think of someone else's perspective. I was with my dad, but my dad wasn't there.
Yeah. Not present.
Right? And then I had to really think about it because I'm like there emotionally more now.
Yeah.
Because I'm in the household by myself. 1, 2 is life is not as busy for me, and I get to control it more. So when I was younger, you couldn't control the NBA.
Yeah.
Right. You're on the road all the time and things like that. So it was harder, but it is a hard thing. And I was telling you guys in the car, I said, we grow up not understanding what boundaries are. Right. So your mother and your father tell you what to do, and then teachers tell you what to do, and then the government tell you what to do. So when do you really figure out who you are?
Right.
Right. So you're going through life not knowing who you are, and then you marry or date or have children. And then now all of a sudden, now you're trying to figure out who you are. Sometimes it goes the other way. Yeah. Right. So it's a really hard thing for anybody that's successful, especially at a younger age where you don't understand boundaries. But I learned the older I got to really hone in on boundaries. Yeah.
Yes, it's really important to establish those boundaries. And I remember I was coaching, right? So I was coaching U.S. Junior Olympics, AAU, USSSA, down here in South Florida. I had a huge program. I had one of the largest programs, 121 players, 7 teams. Every single kid, it was women's basketball. Every one of those women went to college and played on a scholarship. Well, let me put it this way. The ones that went through the program and decided they wanted to go to college, they all got a scholarship. Right. There were a few here and there that fell off, just didn't want to get the grades right or whatever. Maybe 5 to 10 people out of all of those girls. Right. But everyone who wanted to go play college basketball, they all went on scholarships. The scholarships came to like $12 million.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. And so I remember I was coaching the last year I was coaching because I started this program because my daughters were playing. Right. So I wanted to have something for them to do. And then when my youngest daughter ended up graduating and all the games came to an absolute halt and end, that next day, I felt completely strange. Right. I was like, there's no, because that kind of lifestyle of coaching, as you know, is like a full-time job, right? Wow. You're always on the road. You're always on the go. You're always scouting. You're always planning.
You're a dad for them. Yeah. You are the mentor. You're the coach. You're the disciplinarian. You're so many different things.
Everything all at once. Yeah. And it was so shocking to me to just have that abrupt ending. How did you handle that? And did it make you just really fall directly into the family life?
Yeah, it was tough, man. Like I said before, and this is no knock on, the people that I dated or had, children with, but you don't really know who you are, right? So a lot of people stay in a certain business. A lot of guys that are in NBA that are coaching, they're scared to leave that because it's who am I now? Yeah. Right. So for me, I was, the blessing, the silver lining behind the heart condition was that I found out who I was, right? And it was a rough patch. And we all go through these rough patches. I tell people all day, every day you go to sleep, it's kind of like dying, and then you wake up with a new day. So the more you can do that and understand that that's the cycle of life, the better you become in understanding that it's going to be rough, right? It has to be rough first, right? It's like the caterpillar and the butterfly. Right. But, I'm sitting here like, okay, what am I going to do now? And you don't really know what you're going to do for a while, right? Because you got to get back into something. A lot of people is, where you live at, it's like they're retired, but then they have to stay busy. They got to do something else.
Got to do something, man.
Right? So it was just searching of, who are you, Cat? Right? What do you feel like doing? What do you want to do in life? And mine was life coach. Mine was, really dedicate myself to not only my children, but to my inner self. And that's me, right? A lot of people will become businessmen or businesswomen. It's like you don't really give yourself time to be silent.
Yeah.
And I was forced to be silent. And from that came to where I'm at now.
Yeah. So that brought you a lot of peace, actually.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And you were dealing with, you think about this, right? You said 120, you think about that, it's like 360 people, truthfully, because it's not only the girl, but it's the girl mother, father.
True. Right.
So you're dealing with all those personalities, and people don't understand that that AAU personality parents,
oh man,
you want to choke them. Yeah. It's like, yo,
it's tough.
You don't really understand right now. You think your daughter is Lisa Leslie. She's not. So chill out.
Every single one of them thought they were going to be the #1 WNBA player in history, But, you can't fault them for being parents.
No,
but
for sure.
Yeah, it does get frustrating, especially when some of them would send them out on the road in the summer. And I'm traveling with 2 teams, 20 players.
Yeah.
And they don't, half of them don't have money for food.
Right.
Some of them don't have socks.
Right.
They got sent out with no shoes.
Right.
No personal items. I got to go to the store.
My house. Parents come over, they stay there for 2 days. I'm like, where are your parents?
Yeah.
They ain't bring you with nothing? No, $5 or nothing.
Nothing.
Cool.
Yeah, that's what happens, unfortunately. But yeah, it's a trip. But yeah, you're right, man. You just kind of really, that time when it ended for me, I did take some space for some peace.
Right.
I really didn't have anything I was jumping right into anyway, because I had signed a non-compete clause on a business I had just sold 7 years prior.
Okay.
And I still had about 1.5 years left.
Right.
And I was sitting okay financially. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to take some time to relax.
Yeah, man.
Just relax.
Yeah.
And that's when I started going to the beach.
Yeah.
I had lived by the beach since 1977 and hardly ever went. So I started going to the beach and started doing these meditation walks.
Oh, beautiful.
And when I started doing that, everything just started to become more clear, more crystal clear. Everything opened up. My mind opened up. I started producing music, coming up with ideas, became forbidden knowledge. I mean, all these things came from walking on that beach.
Right.
Yeah, so I took that space and that time, and it really took me to another level.
Yeah, you get lost, when you're in that transition, right? It's especially if you're competitive, right? You don't want to fail, but you're starting something new. And that's a really hard thing, especially for an adult, to like start something new later on in their life, right? Life is a paradox, man. I tell you, like it's when you really understand that life is a paradox, if you work out, you're going to be weak before you're strong, right? If you run, you're going to be tired before you have energy, right? It's all these different things that happen in life that you have to enjoy that part of the struggle. And then after that, it works its way out.
Yeah, definitely. You're right. I know you talk to me a lot, off camera about being a dad, being a single dad, taking care of your kids. What is that life like, and what have you been able to learn from raising your kids?
Well, my kids are my teacher, right? There's a lot of things, and Carl Jung speaks about this in Shadow Work, and this is in life in general. When your partner, your children, whoever it is that irritates you, or you don't have patience, or whatever it is in life, you have to tap back in and figure out why, right? It's kind of like when you're playing ball. Yeah. And this team has your number. Why do they have your number? I turn it over with, okay, what kind of defense are they playing? That's the same kind of thing in life, right? I got to figure out, why is it this with my daughter? Or why is it this with one of my sons? Or why is it this? I feel like this. And then once you can kind of reflect and kind of write down those things, those issues, you already halfway to the answer. And for me, I don't know, man, I'm always in search of like, how can I be better? Yeah. Right? So if I'm better, instead of telling my child to be better, I just be better, and then they'll watch what I'm doing. Yeah. So my children, my daughter, she's different than my sons, right? She's artistic, and she draws, she writes, she sings, she plays volleyball. She's just like, she does all these things, right? And then I have my 15-year-old son, where he's just an athlete. He's just, he's dunking on people. He does what he's supposed to do. And after the oldest ones is, they're artists. They clothes and, music. But I have to find myself and say, okay, it's not my world. It's their world. Yeah. I'm just in their world. When I'm with the 25-year-old, I might be listening to music I don't want to listen to, but I'm with him, right? There's clothes that he wears. I don't wear that, but I'm with him, right? My daughter, when I'm with her, I'm with her. And my father used to tell me when I was younger, wherever you are, be there. And And I never understood it until I got older. And I have a unique relationship with all my children because I more so want to understand them opposed to them understanding me, right? Because I'm older.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it's going to be harder for them to relate to you based on the time that we came from. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
It's hard to relate, you know? But the good thing is, I mean, from what I understand as being a dad, and we're around the same age, is that we are older, but we're not so old that we can't relate, that we can't dig deep to get into the trenches with them. What I notice with my kids is every single kid is totally different, you know, like you say. And you know, I tried to raise them with a certain amount of responsibility. And I saw that they all kind of went in their own separate direction, no matter what I did. And just trying to keep open communication with them, trying to be a person that they can come and talk to. But wow, it's so interesting to see how they're all totally different individuals.
Yes.
Because
what I believe is just what I believe. I can't prove it, but you know, children come through the mother, right? Not from, right? So it's a difference. And then they could be older than us, but we're their parent.
Yeah.
So their journey is their journey. All we have to do is learn from them and teach them what we know, right? Or what we can do. Now, I think the blessing of having a child is they help you become better, to grow up. You, the individual, to grow up faster. To understand, okay, this is the weaknesses I have. These are the strengths I have. How do I become better at this and eliminate these things?
Right.
But the great thing about that is that if you're conscious enough, it spreads. The positive energy will spread out more and more. Because all my kids, like I said before, they all what they have in common is they're good people. So when they're different places or whatever it was, and even when my oldest boys were younger, every time they would come back, parents would say, yo, your kids are really good, man. Nice. They're good people. And that's what you don't have to be rich. You don't have to be, just be a good person, right? Because there's so many bad people or bad spirits that I'm glad our household is one of those households where when you come in, it's just love. It's okay.
Beautiful, man. That's amazing. You know, I look back, you know, some of the things and from some of the conversations I've had with you about you and your children, and I look back at my life growing up and it was totally opposite.
Right.
You know, so when you raise kids in that type of environment, it's really a blessing because like how my parents didn't have a good template to go on, because of them, I didn't have a good template to go on. So I made some mistakes too, you know? Right. And so what I see with you, it seemed like you really dug deep. Now, I'm not saying you're perfect, but you're striving to get better, be better, to learn more, and to transmit the right frequency. And, you know, that they can vibe on with you and they can become who they are, but also take from you the good and see in you what they see in themselves. Yeah. So that's incredible, you know? Yeah, it's really a blessing. Are you doing any mentoring programs for dads, or what kind of program do you have going on? Yeah, so Dad's Point of View, it's not only the foundation, but it's a podcast. So I have certain clients per month that call me, with some women, but then the majority is fathers, where I'm trying to help them navigate their life where it's chaotic, whether it's 2-parent households or one parent household, but more so, not so much don't tell me about the issues that you have with everybody else. Tell me about what your issues are as a person. And once we can identify what it is, because usually when people come to you, especially whatever it is, they always talk about everybody else, right? But then if you start to really dissect their friendships, relationships, or whatever it is, it's always something, or like just for instance, a girl say, oh, all men are dogs. And it's like, well, your mentality attracts the dog, whatever that dog is, right? So now let's figure out why is that, right? All these kids are annoying me. Okay, well, let's figure out, forget the kids. Let's figure out why you get like this. So a lot of my mentorship is more so based on the individual. Kind of like, when you're playing ball, right? I'll assess you and watch you play, and it's like, oh, your left hand's weak. Okay, your shot needs to be a little quicker. Like I'm watching the person like that. So now the game becomes better for you to play it. Gotcha. I'm not saying it's going to be perfect, but it's less turnovers, right? Your decision making could be a little more sharp now, because now you have more of the fundamentals of the game of life. Gotcha. Right, so basketball, kind of metaphorically speak it, but it's the fundamentals. Once you really understand the fundamentals of it, the game, even if it's a
a tough game, a hard game, and you lose the game, you know I gave my all and I can improve more. So now you become more like, okay, you become more self-aware of the game of life.
Gotcha.
And it's like, you know what? When I make a mistake with my children, and in relationships, you should do this too. When you make a mistake, a lot of people are very prideful. I'm like, oh, that's my fault. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Right? Or I tell my children, and I have 3 boys, so it's a lot of testosterone. And as you have estrogen in one girl, not only am I sorry, I will say to them, my boys, if you feel a certain way and if I was wrong, let's talk about it. Right? Yeah. Or I'll tell you, you hurt my feelings.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, when we grew up, it wasn't that you hurt my feelings. You're a punk, you step, whatever.
Yeah.
But I grew up with 4 parents. I was blessed to have 4 parents. And my stepfather and my father were the kissing and the hugging people in my life. Right? And my mom and my stepmom, love them to death, right? Like, but the men gave me more affection.
Wow.
So I grew up where it's like, I kiss, I hug. And in our house, it's mandatory. Every single day you wake up, we hug, we kiss, if we're all in the house. And then you can go and say, kick rocks after that all you want, as long as we get that interaction.
Yeah, yeah. That's beautiful, man. Yeah. Because, you know, growing up, again, like I said, I'm just going off my own template, didn't have that. Didn't have a lot of affection in the household from either parent. It's not that they didn't love us. They just didn't have whatever it wasn't passed down to them. Right. You know, that certain level of affection just wasn't there. It was
circumstance.
Kind of a, circumstance. Stoic household, you know, very cold. But you grow up, you don't know the difference.
Yeah, you don't.
Right? So I didn't know the difference until I got out of the house. And then people were like, you know, why are you so cold? Or why come you don't want to kiss me? How come you don't want to hug me? You know, I'm like, I don't know. Shit, I'm supposed to hug you and kiss you? I don't know why I'm not doing that.
Right.
You know, so it's really important. What you're teaching people is like incredible because this, I can tell you right now, it could have led me down a totally different path if I had that love and affection from a very young age. So it's really, really important what you're teaching. How do you navigate this new era, this new world of all this social media with the kids and all this online hate and all these attacks and all this clout chasing and all this craziness going on, the controversy for likes? And I see kids, you know, now more than ever committing suicide. One kid, unfortunately, on my block just committed suicide a few days ago, young girl. How do you navigate that?
You know, I and having, you know, 25-year-old and then 15, 11, and then myself, the traumatic kid, and, you know, I had great parents, right? My mom had me when she was 18 years old. So, you know, at a point in time, she was not a patient individual.
Gotcha.
Right? She's from South Carolina. You know, they moved to Philadelphia. She had me. I messed up her hoop dreams, basically. But she never said that, but I'm just saying this just jokingly. But then my father, you know, he dropped out of school at a very young age. But I think for me is when I'm dealing with individuals, especially now, I've learned how to adapt. And I'm always metaphoric when I'm metaphorically speaking on certain stuff. It's like the game of basketball. When you play the San Antonio Spurs, they're different than it is the Lakers. The Lakers are different than Chicago. Chicago's different than Milwaukee. Yeah. And that's how life is. So when you're dealing with these teams, these individuals, you don't use the same game plan with her, use with her, use with her.
Right.
You have to be more emotionally attached and mostly your emotional intelligence has to be a little higher to understand the individual. Right?
Gotcha.
So, and maybe that happened to me because I have 4 parents, so every one of them were different.
Yeah.
Right? So then I knew how to treat each one of them and they knew how to treat me, right? They treated me differently.
Yeah.
Right? And then I treated them this way, this way, this way, this way. So maybe it I guess it grew from there. But I think there's 2 things that we need to understand and in this day and age is patience and understanding.
Yeah.
Right? Because if it's bothering you to the point where it takes you out of your space, one is you have to ask the question why, right? But if it's into a point where it's just like something you can't control, you just leave it alone. It's not for you, right? But if you put yourself in it and you constantly get annoyed from it, now we got to ask, what is the message behind it, right? So I just try my best to, having younger kids, to understand then is patience, right?
Yeah.
So when I can do that, it'll work its way out because, when we were in our 20s, we were idiots. We did stupid stuff.
Yeah, we did a lot of
stuff.
Right,
we're 15 years old. Mom tell you, dad tell you to do this. As soon as you leave the room, you forget what you're supposed to do. I don't know if you did this, but we playing the game and coach would draw up a play.
Yeah.
Go on the court, I forget the game.
We all did
and
that.
I used to get so mad at myself, right? Because I wasn't in the moment.
Yeah.
And it's like life. If you're not in the moment, you start to forget to play.
Yeah.
Right. And when you forget to play, it can turn that game into a bad game.
True.
That day into a bad day.
Yeah.
That week into a bad week. So the more you are, like my father used to tell me, the more you are, wherever you are, be there, the game becomes a lot smoother.
Yeah.
Because now you're understanding the detail of that's sending. Whatever's sending to you, you're receiving it better.
I love the metaphors because, see, I'm also processing it in my mind. I'm applying the things that I'm doing and things that I'm going through. And I can see now how I can get a better flow, how I get into the flow state.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's what that is, basically the flow state.
Right.
So instead of me like, okay, well, the Lakers gave me this and I can go to the baseline. Well, San Antonio had Tim Duncan and David Robinson. I can't get that way. I got to go this way.
Yeah.
Right? To make us better, to make me better, more efficient. So I can't go into this relationship like I am with this relationship.
Right.
I can't talk to my daughter like I talk to my son.
Yeah.
There's certain things you got to do to get the best out of the individual. If you're going to be around the individual, right? You don't have to walk cats.
Yeah.
You got to walk dogs.
True.
Right?
Yeah.
So when you sitting there and mad at the dog for pooping and tearing stuff up and eating all over the place, that's your fault. The dog is different than the cat, right? Yeah. So I just think of it, that's how I think of life.
Yeah, that's amazing. You should be a basketball coach, man, for the NBA. Yeah, because the NBA coaches really is about managing egos.
Yeah, it is.
It's about managing, you got to be a strategy person too, but I mean, managing ego seems to be the biggest thing.
Very big time.
Man.
And the reason why I didn't, because I was going to go with the Clippers with Ty Lue. He's my good friend. And I was going to go with the Houston Rockets. I had all opportunities. I still have opportunities. But if I do that, then what I'm doing is I'm stealing the relationship with my kids.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, gotcha.
So it's not that important for me to do where I can just consult. So if they need me for something, I can speak to someone, I can do X, Y, and Z, and I get to go back home with my children.
Yeah.
Right. Because when you do that, anybody can tell if you're in it or not. And if I'm worried about home when I'm at work, the people at work going to feel my energy, and now all of a sudden they don't get the best of me.
Yeah.
And if I'm at work and I'm thinking about all this, just the back and forth thing, right? And if I'm with my daughter and I'm on the phone and I'm doing all this other stuff, she's going to start to remember that more than I will,
right?
Because I'm in my zone, right? And I don't think that's fair.
Yeah, true. Plus, if your kids are active in music and dance and sports, you want to be there, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's another big thing, just being there for your children.
Yeah.
There's so many I heard Deion Sanders talking one time about the fact, his parents never came to any of his sporting events. I mean, I'm a victim of that as well. Yeah. It's nothing like looking up and not seeing anybody there ever.
Anybody.
Nobody.
Anybody. And we get so used to it, Billy, at a young age, you get so used to it that it callous builds in the heart.
Yeah.
Yeah. That you just think it's normal.
Yeah.
And it's not actually normal, man. I watch my kids. So my son, when I was coming here, we had a championship game on Sunday. And, he's like, all right, so what do you want me to do? You want me to do this? You want me to do this? I'm like, talking to him about all the strategy because I coach him.
Yeah.
And I felt, like, damn, I don't get to see him. And I'm codependent now. Right? Because not only do he need me, but I need him.
Right.
Because it's like a validation. Like I feel like, okay, I'm complete when I got my kids. Right. Now, when they start getting older and they're out the house, I had to figure something else out. Yeah. Right.
That's a whole
Maybe
phase.
That's the life coaching thing. It transitions smoothly.
Yeah.
But it gets to that point where, for me, I call on FaceTime. Let me see. I told my daughter, okay, look, tell him, listen, he's going baseline. They cut off baseline to open up to his left. Yeah. I'm telling her to do all these things, and he's like, it worked, Dad, it worked. Yeah. They lost in the championship by 2, but he played up 2. He played 16U. Wow. Yeah. And they lost in the championship. But anyway, it's just for me, just really honing in wherever I'm at, being there.
Yeah.
Makes a world of a difference.
Yeah, absolutely, man. That's incredible. Yeah, the kids really need that. They need to feel like you have that interest in their life, you know, and that's the part that unfortunately a lot of parents lack at. They let the video games raise their children, you know, they don't give them managed screen time. Have you had to consult or talk to people about, you know, getting their kids off of these games or reducing the amount of time on some of the games?
Yeah, you know, it's funny because I was just talking to a mother last week, and she's in Indiana, and it was she's a single mom, and she was speaking about her boys, and I said, they're on the video games. What do you do with them? I mean, I don't know what to do with them. Well, that's why they're on the game.
Yeah.
Right. And it's actually not your fault. The father had passed, right, some years back. So boys that are 13, 14, it's like hard to manage, right? It's like for me, my daughter, when she becomes 13, 14, 15, like I'm just a chauffeur. I'm not really, what am I? I don't know what you want me to, right? Besides, okay, we're going to do volleyball. We're going to get our nails done. And after that, what?
Yeah, true.
Right? What exactly, me and my daughter, we have a relationship where we go to Barnes & Noble, we read a lot of books, we do all that stuff. But at one point, it's going to cut off. So then now, what is that transition? So I was just explaining to her, my son's 15 years old. He has more of a pro schedule, right? So he'll get on, the game is actually, for him and his situation, is his release. Because he's working out, he's, you know, lifting, he's shooting, he's school, you know, he's doing all these things. Yeah. So then when he goes and plays, he may be in the game for an hour, hour and a half, and then we're back in the gym again, doing something else. But, you know, when you're dealing with this type of situation with a lot of parents, it's because the parents don't know what to do with the child, or they're impatient, right? So they've conditioned not only the child but themselves. It's kind of like a basketball player that retires, and then he goes right back into coaching. Yeah. Right? Yeah. It's the same thing when the child is younger. It's like, okay, I'm irritated, or I don't have the patience, or I have to do something else. So here, take this. And then it becomes easier to do, right? You take your dog, you just open the door, dog goes out. Or you go take the dog for a walk so the dog gets stimulated, the dog can see things, it's like whatever. You bond with the dog. Now you understand. It's kind of like that same kind of philosophy. It's like you don't want to get too comfortable in these type of things when it comes to children, because they're growing. Their brain's growing. They want to do more. But then you're like, I'm comfortable in doing what I want to do. That's the self-interest in a lot of parents. Yeah. That's what like basically allows them to just say, you know what, I'm just going to get on this game then. And the game is my friend, and the people that I can interact with. You can keep them busy, but you just don't know what to do. You don't know what to do. Right. And it's got to be something, I think that there's comes a point where you have to, like, as a parent, you got to step up and say, no, I need to spend some time with my kids. You know, I need to whether it's walking, hiking, whatever. So my mom used to do, I love cooking, right? My mom and my stepfather taught me how to cook. I cook anything. And not having chefs anymore, I'm being the person in the house, I cook for everybody all the time. When I was younger, you come in the kitchen, yo, get out my kitchen, right? My mom, get out the kitchen. Now she's fine. My daughter in the kitchen, my son's in the kitchen, she's teaching, I'm teaching them. It's a difference. Now they feel a little more bond. My dad taught me how to do this. My dad taught me how to do this. My grandma taught me how to do this. But when we were younger, it was no patience. Right? Because they had their own thing going on. Right? Bills, this, that, whatever, what's next. I don't know. I don't know what that was. But we're at a situation now where you're a little more patient and understanding of the other person's environment. I remember when I was younger, you bouncing the ball in the house. Don't bounce that ball in the damn house, right? So now my son can bounce the ball and break a lamp. But mom, like, it's okay, it's cool. Yeah, of course it's cool. You're rich. That's why it's cool now. You know what I'm saying? What was that patience at when I needed it? I'm still don't bounce the ball in the house. I don't mind the ball bouncing in the house. I just don't like when it's left in front of the staircase. Well, because I keep thinking about someone being over here, coming down that staircase in the dark. Oh no, crazy. And and I got to enact that insurance policy. My daughter does something so crazy right now, right? And she's like the mom of the house. She comes in the house, as soon as she come in the house, flip-flops come off right in front of the door for whatever reason. It's the craziest thing. She not only does that, she'll take like cups of water or milk, because she loves water and milk.
Yeah.
And she just places, she'll drink half and then place it's like 15 cups all around the house. She just does that. It's just the weirdest thing. Right. But you know what? Me growing up, my mom was a stickler in everything. You can't sit in this living room. You can't do this, can't do that. She's not like that anymore. She's, she's a little bit kind of, at her own crib. But I said, if you feel comfortable in just being a kid, go ahead. It doesn't bother me.
Right.
It's all good. Right.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
Sometimes you can be a little too strict on kids, and it breaks their will. It breaks their creativity.
Right.
It makes them feel unloved.
Yeah.
It creates trauma. It caps them. It definitely caps them. So you have to have a special balance.
Yeah. I mean, think about it. Some of your girls, right? You had 20 girls. And then one girl, she's super talented. So you give her a little more leeway when she turn it over.
Yes.
Then the other one's like, no, I don't want you shooting that.
Yeah.
Don't shoot there, dribble the ball. When you get it now, give it to her and then run down. It's like certain things because you can see the individual and how amazing the individual is. Whereas though one person may be scared to do those things, say, no, go ahead. Go in the refrigerator. Go ahead, get you something, man. Yeah. Don't listen, stop. Don't it's like basketball. Don't look over here. Play.
Yeah. Right.
You got to figure this out.
Right.
So exactly. Then she'll get to a point where she cleaned the whole house.
Yeah,
right?
True.
So it's just that's just what it is. It's a balance.
It's a balance. True. One of the things that I didn't do with my kids was because we got severe beatings. We got whipped like you wouldn't believe. We got beat.
All of us did.
With switches and extension cords and belt buckles and everything, whatever they can grab. So what I wanted to do was I didn't want to really beat my kids like that when I was raising them. What's your perspective on discipline?
I talk.
Yeah.
I'm going to sit you down and talk.
Yeah.
And you're going to feel worse.
Yes.
Right?
I agree.
You disappointed me.
I agree.
Right. And we're supposed to be close. And if you love someone, I think, people just like, how are you? A lot of people say, I love you. And I don't really think about this. You tell your child you love them. They tell you they love you back. They don't know what love is.
Yeah.
They won't even know that until they get in their 20s, maybe 30s. You don't know what love is.
Right.
So they're just learning what the definition of love is through you. So how are you defining it for them? Right? So for me, because they're going to be as much as they are your son or your daughter, they're going to be your friend for a longer time.
True.
Right? So when they get out the house, now it's like, do they want to go have coffee with you, dinner with you, lunch with you, hang with you? That's a friend.
Yeah.
Right? I don't want you obligated. You don't want this is no obligation.
Yeah.
Right? So I got to start talking to you like a friend. Like, friends don't hurt each other's feelings. Friends don't lie to each other, cheat on each other. We don't do those things. So when you hurt my feelings, I have to tell you this. Yeah. When you did this, my father used to tell me, my stepfather used to tell me, you can make all the mistakes you want, and that's okay. But what you don't get to do is choose the consequences. You don't get those. The consequence is going to be the consequence. Yeah. Now, you can get suspended. Make a mistake. But the consequence is what it is. You got to live up to it now. Yeah. It's not me don't like you, don't love you, no. It's a mistake, and then this comes from the mistake. Yeah. That's what happens. Right. So once you can understand that at a very young age, and if a parent can articulate that in a way where the child understands that it's come from love, you have a better way to communicate throughout life, I think. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I used to tell them, there's a principle. They call them the Hermetic principles, actually. And one is called the principle of cause and effect. It's an ancient text. And in the principle of cause and effect, it means that every decision you make is going to have a consequence, whether it's a good consequence or a bad consequence. But there's always going to be a consequence when you put action behind a conscious thought. Right. And so, yeah, you're right. Trying to break it down to them and explain it is what I did, And sometimes it got through to them and sometimes it didn't. But like you say, everyone's on their own journey. And I just felt like that would be less traumatic than beating the living daylights out of someone. Yeah, man, it's just old. Yeah. It's just old. Yeah. It comes from slavery. Yes. Like, it's just no reason to do it. Yeah. Like, there's fear and respect, right? So I respect the police. I respect the government. I respect Billy. I don't have to fear the person, right? Yeah. Like, it's just a bear. I respect the bear. I respect the cobra. I respect the alligator because I know what can happen. Right. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, you don't have to fear things. And that's what the outwitting devil, right? It talks about one of the 6 things that how the devil controls you. And one of them is what? Fear.
Fear.
So if you got to understand exactly what that relationship is you have with fear, and then now all of a sudden things won't be as fearful.
Right, exactly. And I think you're right. It does go back to the epigenetics behind slavery. Going back, we know that we have 15 to 20 generations of our ancestors' traumas in our body.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden, we're also taught and programmed, this is the way to do it. And so by the time it gets passed down, the next thing you know, you're whipping the poor child like, and I look back on some of the things that I actually got beat for recently in some counseling sessions that I was in. And today, if one of my kids did that, or if Gabe did that, I would be like just laughing because there actually wasn't even anything crazy.
Right.
It was ridiculous even to say, I'm going to beat you for this.
Right.
Like asking for some candy at the grocery store.
Yes.
Bam, shut up. You ain't getting nothing.
Yes.
You know? And so
drinking the milk in the eating a piece of bread, the last piece. Damn, I can't do that. That's crazy.
Exactly. Yeah. It was wild, man. It's amazing that, but there's a lot of us walking around with those traumas right now. And if you can't process it properly, then we end up taking that on our kids because it's just like, the programming code going down generation after generation. And at some point, we have to draw a line in the sand and say, nah, no more.
Facts.
We're going to stop this right here. And you can end up being whoever you're going to be, but I'm not going to participate in contributing to you becoming the dark frequency.
It's funny you say that because my mom, she would, early on, of course, impatient. And again, before I continue, I call it it's like age appropriate. It was appropriate because she come from South Carolina and then you're young and you have a kid at 18 and you're impatient and blah, 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 all these different things is going on in your life and you want to accomplish, conquer the world and all of a sudden you got this big head little boy and whatever the case is, right? So when she met my stepfather at a very young age, maybe 2 years old, he was so much more loving and patient just in life in general. He's a little older than my mom. And then my dad was always talking to me as well. So maybe that's where I got it from, where it's like, I'm not hitting my children. For what? Like, I'm going to talk to you. And I talk to you, you're going to feel bad because you disappointed me as a human being.
Yes.
Right? As a human being, I need to really talk to you about what's going to happen in life, right? These consequences are going to happen. You're going to get punished or this is this or this is that, whatever it is. But, life is like building a house, right? It's like, what do you want in the house?
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
If you make a cheap house, it's going to break. So be expensive with your thoughts, your emotions. Understand that once you are building this house that you have to live in, it's got to really mean something. The foundation has to be strong.
Yeah.
And my parents, all 4 of them, my stepmother passed away in 2019. She was my baby. And then my stepfather passed away my rookie year. And I thought I would have had a better career if my stepfather was still there because he was my oracle. He was my zen. He was my, everything. It was something go on. He made sense of it. Right. Gotcha. And I picked up a lot of his attributes from, and that just became, it's like, I love how he was, so I became that. Yeah. And then my dad's a chill dude too, right? It's like, it's all good. He's always, my dad's like, oh man, just don't upset your mom. Just chill out.
Just chill out,
Just chill out.
Yeah.
You don't chill out, she gonna come at me.
Right.
It's like that talk.
Yeah. Now that's good because it passed on to you. I just look at, from where I grew up in the hood and looked at a lot of the friends that I had and how they were just getting tore up and beat up and yelled at and cursed out and called out of their name all the time, out in public, in the house, wherever. And you look and see, like, how did they end up?
So sad.
All those ass whoopings didn't do anything but destroy. A small number make it through the gambit to become, what we would consider to be, quote unquote, a successful person or a contributing to society person.
Right.
But the vast majority of those kids, either they become drug addicts, wife beaters, child beaters, prisoners, drug dealers, and all those ass whoopings didn't add up. My own brother. My brother's 1 year younger than me, right? So he's 52. He did 10 years in prison for attempted murder.
My brother, he's 10 months older than me. He's 3 lifetimes.
Yeah, crazy. Crazy.
Lifetimes, man.
And we grew up in the same house, the same ass whoopings, right? But for whatever reason, those ass whoopings did something a little different to me. And maybe because I was the oldest and I was like taking care of them, all of my siblings all the time. But for him, it traumatized him in a way that caused him to go down that particular path and get with the wrong crowd and start doing things that he knew he shouldn't have been doing, you know? I mean, he's been out for a long time now, he's doing phenomenal. But the point I'm making is it's like all those ass whoopings and people are still locked up, shot, dead, beat. You know, I just think parents should like do what you're saying. Talk to the children. I talk. I'm a talker. And I could talk to my son, you know, my youngest son, Gabe here in the house. And if I talk to him, he knows I'm really disappointed, like I'm really disappointed. He's going to start bawling, crying, not crying. Yeah, man. Right? So it gets through to them.
You have to have those type of feelings. And I think we suppress them, especially when we were younger. You suppress a lot of your feelings. And then, you know, idle time is devil's playground. When your mind is like wandering all around the place, you don't know where to put your emotions and everything like that. And then the next day, like, you know, the parent's not talking to you. And that parent who ignores you is dealing with some trauma of their own as a child, right? Yeah. So then they don't know how to communicate, right? So I was explaining to some of the guys, it's like, you have to start at right away, set boundaries. It's like a great coach, Greg Popovich, right? It's like everybody has this role. This is what's going to happen. This is not, in any relationship you deal with in life. If I can tell you right away, you're either going to hit the road or you're going to stick with it. But it's not going to be a surprise midway through the season. Right? The season of life. You can't just hope and guess and cross your fingers that somebody else will get something that you're thinking inside, but never to learn how to articulate. Just that doesn't work. And especially when they're kids, they're busy. They're doing their thing. They're their own journey. So now how do I help them become the best?
Yeah, absolutely, man. You've learned a lot from, you know, your career in sports. What's one amazing thing that you say, you know, through sports, you were able to pass on into your real life? I know there's so many of them.
Yeah, no, you know, there's, I think in anything in life, fall in love with the struggle makes life so much better. If you can understand that there's no pressure in being perfect. There's pressure in being disciplined. Right? So if you can become disciplined, whatever it is, if you're a single woman, single man, athlete, business, if you're disciplined, and what does discipline mean? Right? It's holding yourself accountable. If you can start that at a very young age, life becomes that much easier. And whatever you do, it doesn't matter what you do. You want to be a CEO, you want to be a COO, you want to be a mom, you want to be a dad, be disciplined. Work on your boundaries. What are your boundaries, right? You can't just let people walk all over you, right? So what does that really mean? Right? So now I got to identify, this doesn't make me feel good. All right, if this doesn't make me feel good, what should I do from here? Because if I keep letting it go 4, 5, 6 months, I just taught them how to treat me. And I'm going to I'm going to be resentful. I'm going to be pissed off and I'm just going to blurt something out. Or I'm not going to be my authentic self. So throughout this relationship, they energetically can feel it. So then now they pivot this way, but they're still there. Physically they're there, but mentally they're gone.
Right.
So then now you're like, oh, I feel abandoned. Well, you weren't direct from the very beginning. That's why this team will not succeed. But if you, in the beginning, you say, okay, the cat's the cat, the dog's the dog, the elephant's the elephant. If you understand exactly that, as clear as that is, right? It's not about being perfect. It's about being disciplined with oneself. And once you can do that, any relationship you deal with, I'm not saying it's not going to be rocky, because that's what we're here to do, serve and suffer. But it just becomes more clear.
If it's more clear, then it's manageable.
Exactly.
You know, and I'm taking that advice from you right now, because I'm dealing with a situation with a guy that I've been doing business with for a long time. And I can see where I've been allowing him to take advantage little by little here and there, you know. And so now what I've done is I just won't answer his calls. But now he's getting pissed off. But I didn't set the boundary from the beginning. So I didn't do what you said. I didn't set that boundary. So I taught him how to treat me. And so now when I withdraw, now he's pivoting, right? Exactly what you just said.
He's going to find a way, right? Because now he probably have childhood traumas where it was abandonment.
Yeah.
But he was taking. He took advantage of people at a very young age, but never really face to face said, "No, I don't like that. It's not going to happen. This, that, whatever." So now he stops.
Yeah.
He's done. He's not going to do it anymore.
Yeah.
So now you don't have to worry about dodging him or this or the uncomfortable conversation or what's he going to do here and this, that, whatever. No.
Yeah.
No. This is what's it. If you don't like it, that's okay. You don't have to like it.
Yeah.
But that's just what I feel.
Right.
And then we're done from here. Right?
Yeah.
Doesn't have to linger another 2 months or 3 months. And then all of a sudden, well, you just told me that.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Now it's 8 months later. I should just said just that?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Exactly.
You hurt my feelings. Well, why didn't you tell me? I don't know. You're supposed to read the mind. And women do that.
Yeah.
Right? You're supposed to read my mind. Because women speak on emotions. Men are more logical.
Yeah.
So a woman can say something today, I hate you, but they really love you. But then that day, but men think about that and internalize it more.
Yeah.
So if we can get to that point where we're more direct, it's like, you teach manifestation. If you could be more direct, the more direct I am, I won't live so rent free in my head. Just you don't have to do that.
Exactly.
If you're doing if I'm going to shoot the basketball, I'm not thinking shoot, dribble, score. I'm thinking shot.
Yeah.
If I think of anything else, I'm going to miss.
Gonna miss. That's right.
I got to think of just that. If I'm going to dribble the ball, I'm dribbling the ball in my right hand. I'm not thinking about going behind my back, this right, left hand, this, that, whatever. No, dribbling ball in my right hand at this moment. This is what I have to focus on, that right there.
Yeah.
Then I can compute everything else after that. But if you start focusing on everything else, it just won't work.
Yeah. True, man. Amazing. I'm in a counseling session with Coutinho Mobley. Tell everyone where they can find you and what you have coming up and how they can follow you on social media and even come see your podcast or watch your podcast very soon. Yeah,
so the podcast will be starting soon in April. Dad's Point of View, DPOV. You can find me on Instagram, Coutinho's Life, CUTTINOSLIFE. And I just created my website called CoutinhoMobley.com. And I'm coming out with a book, 20 Principles of Life. It's just basic stuff, morning routines, boundaries, intentions, honesty, all those different type of things that we need to really base ourselves around. So we can live in life is chaotic, but you want to be able to control it. So it's called Control Chaos.
Nice.
Yeah, man, I'm just going, just doing, find me on there, but just for me, I just want people to just really tap into their superpowers.
Yeah. For sure, definitely, man. It's been an honor, man.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming back. And passing one of those watches up there. First of all, thank you.
No, thank you, man.
Appreciate it,
seriously appreciate you, brother.
And we want to gift you one of our watches from Esoteric, our Esoteric line.
This is amazing.
All right, so it's a Tano design, similar to Richard Mille design. Richard Mille didn't make up that design. The Tano's been around for over 200 years. Oh. It's a very popular design. It's been a very smooth look.
It's amazing.
It's waterproof, and so enjoy it, man. It's a gift from us.
I love this.
Appreciate it. All right, everyone, that was another amazing episode of the Forbidden Knowledge Podcast with my special guest and good friend, Coutinho Mobley. Make sure y'all stay tuned for the next one. Watch this video for free at www.4bk.tv or download the app on your smartphone, Fire Stick app, Samsung TV, Roku, and other app providers.